Introduction to Chovot Halevavot, the Shar Bitachon, the Gate of Trust. Now we're going to move on to chapter 1 of the Gate of Trust. This is the chapter 1, Chovot Bitachon Hi. Now the Chovot Halevavot begins this Gate of Trust by explaining what Bitachon, what trust in Hashem means. Now you have to get the two things clear. There is Emunah, there's faith in God, and then there's Bitachon, trust in God. And we explained many times that Emunah is more of the mental aspect. Do you believe? Or like people have to have proofs of God. People have to, decide that, I believe and acknowledge that God is Hashem is the truth, and I have to do what He says, and I have to live my life according to the Torah. That's the mental aspect. That's the belief of Emunah. But then trust is that your actual emotional response to life and to what happens to you changes as well because of your faith, because of what you believe in. Now, for example, a person who believes in Hashem and the Torah understands there's a concept of atonement. There's a concept of measure for measure. There's a Torah concept, Mida Keneged Mida, all these kind of things. So therefore, when things happen to you, because of your faith, now you respond differently. A person who has no faith will say, hey, this guy, why did he do this to me? A person who has faith, he'll say, listen, this is an atonement. Maybe I did something wrong to somebody else, and now God is punishing me measure for measure. I deserve it. Because of his faith, now he responds differently in emotional response, and that's called trust. That's called bitachon, reliance on Hashem, and now your emotions change. Mahot bitachon the essence of bitachon is menuchat nefesh uboteach. Is the one who trusts has peace of mind. יהיה ליבו סמוך על מי שבטח עליו, שיעשה טוב ונכון ובעניין שיפתח עליו. To do what is good and appropriate for him in any matter which he places his trust in him. A lot of people, when they get nervous, they say, listen, maybe I'm overweight, that's why I'm not successful. I'm not so smart. How am I going to be successful? My family, I have no family here. How am I going to make it? I have to be like that guy. I have to be like this guy. I have to be like that guy. If only, if only, if only. So what happens? You have to realize they're not having bitachon in Hashem. You think Hashem made you with this genetics and this makeup, how your body is, and He set you up for failure. He commanded you to get married. He commanded you to do mitzvot. He commanded you to live a meaningful life, and you can't do that without getting married. You can't do that without making money. You can't do that without growing and being successful in life. It's impossible. How am I going to keep the Torah? I'm going to have money. How am I going to do pruvu? How am I going to do any mitzvah? How am I going to have the joy and the patience to do it? So a person has to know God doesn't set us up for failure. If He put you in this situation and He also commanded you to do the mitzvot, obviously He has a solution for you and He has a way for you to be successful in these things, and He has a plan for you to get married, and He has a plan for you to make money, and He has a plan for you to be successful in all the things you need to be successful in. The problem is we don't imagine such a thing. We're very closed-minded. We're not open-minded enough. We're very closed-minded and we think everything has to be a certain way. Only if I'm a doctor, only if I'm a lawyer, only if I get married at 21, and I have to have a house by 30, and I have to live here, and I have to do this by this age, by this age, by this age, by that age. We're very in our own little box. And that's not real bitachon in Hashem. Trust in Hashem means when I trust somebody. I trust somebody. The guy asks you, how should I do it? I don't know, I trust you. You decide. You decide. I trust you. I know you're doing something good. However you see fit, do it. That's how we have to be with Hashem. Hashem, I put my efforts. I have to go and try to get married. I have to go and try to make a living for myself. But how does it come to fruition? What actually will come out to be? That I trust in you, Hashem. Hashem, you know how it's going to happen. I don't know. Whatever you see fit. At the end of the day, what comes out, I accept it from you because that's trust in Hashem. He says, even if there's someone with the ability to do good for a person, the knowledge of what's good for him, that does not suffice to place absolute trust in Him. Meaning, we know that Hashem will do good for us, and Hashem knows what's good for us. Actually, Hashem knows better what's good for us than we know what's good for us. There's some people who say, I wish I'd be a millionaire. When they're a millionaire, they become a different person. They lose themselves. There's a person who says, I wish I was, this, and then they get that, and they're like, wow, this is not what I thought it was. I should have went back how I used to be. I wish I was able to go back to how I was. Why? Because we think we know, but really, ultimately, only Hashem knows what's the best for us. But another thing is, ואם יפקד לא ימצא ביטחון, הוא שיהיה ליבו בטוח מי שיפתח בו שיקיים מה שאמר ויעשה. מה שערב. he says, is a fundamental element which provides a basis for having trust in another person. And that is, you must be confident that Hashem will keep His word. You hear this? A person has to really rely on Hashem. What do they do by team building? They make the employees stand with each other, and there's the trust fall. They have to go, and one guy stands, two guys stand behind him, and he lets himself fall backwards, and he lets the guys catch him because he has to learn to trust his co-workers, right? Same thing with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When you believe and say, I'm a religious Jew and I believe in the Torah, I'm a Torah observant Jew, that you all, and part and parcel in that is I have to trust in Hashem and be willing to fall back and know Hashem will catch me. And know that Hashem will provide what he promises, right? And a person who doesn't do so then he's lacking in his bitachon. And he will even set his mind to think other good things that he could do for him, and that he never guaranteed or pledged to do so, and carry them out as a favor and kindness. Right? Your father, let's say, you trust your father, right? He loves you. So you know that I don't even have to ask him, right? When I go to his house, I assume that he's going to give me lunch, he's going to give me dinner, he's going to give me a bed. Do I have to ask him every single thing? Abba, I'm coming to, where you live. You're going to give me a bed, right? You're going to give me food to eat. I can open the fridge and get a drink, right? You don't have to ask these things. It's obvious. You know out of the goodness of his heart, he will give it to you anyways. Because that's how you have to feel about HaKadosh Baruch Hu also. You have to realize that the one who you rely on will not do only what he promised. He will even do additional benefits as a kindness. You have to know that that's part of Hashem as well. Why? It's because if you think that there's limits to what Hashem's goodness could be, so you'll always be nervous, you'll always be thinking, but maybe this, that, or this, or maybe Hashem won't provide for me this, maybe I have to ask for this also. So therefore a person has to know that it's wrong. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu will even be able to give you absolute peace of mind, and whatever it takes, whatever it needs, or whatever arises, Hashem could provide for that as well. But what does that mean? That if I have trust in Hashem, I'll get whatever I want no matter what? That's not true. That's not true. You have to deserve it. You have to have bitachon. You have to really get to a level where Hashem approves to give you everything you want, everything you need. But once you set your mind to being a righteous person and having bitachon, so then you should know that Hashem is able to provide for all those things. As opposed to a person who has no bitachon, who thinks, I have to be self-sufficient, and my destiny is in my hands solely, and I have to do everything for myself, and the reason why I'm successful is because of my skills, and my intellect, and my whatever it is. Person has bitachon realizes that no, I have to rely on Hashem, my provider. He will give me confidence, and He will give me peace of mind, and I trust Him that even if He will have to go beyond His commitment when a situation arises for it, He will. And that's why a person has to learn to be open-minded with Hashem, and that's bitachon. If you're closed-minded with Hashem, then He can't provide for you, and you have to do for yourself. So you should realize that you're lacking in bitachon. Baruch Adonai.